Hello, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So this is a quick little series of me setting up my budget planner, and this is the second video in which I am going to be figuring out some cash envelopes and sinking funds. If you want to see me go through these first couple of sheets where I set up my monthly bill tracker and my annual bill tracker, I'll go ahead and link that video up above. But in today's video, we are going to set up a couple of additional trackers. So just to start us off, I really did try to do this portion with you guys, but that video ended up being an hour long with me trying to explain and talk and figure out things. So I'm just coming to you guys again with the highlights. So if you're new to the planner, I did make it myself. It is called the Drill Down Budget Planner, and I have several videos on my channel now that walk you through what the planner is, what the drill down budget process is, and it's essentially a budgeting process that I came up with that is based on how I budget, and I made a planner to match. So that is what we're going through right now. This is the 2024 version that will be available on my site plannerfunction.com come this Black Friday weekend. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into these worksheets. So this is what the important dates worksheet looks like blank, and then just to show you how it works is basically you're going to pick up to 5 events or holidays that you celebrate with specific people. So you can list all the names of the people that you celebrate these 5 holidays with, and each individual doesn't have to celebrate each holiday or event that's in the column. So as you see, this is my immediate family, so our 3 kids, my spouse, and myself. I didn't put anything for me and hubby in baskets because the baskets, which you could think of it as a gift basket for the kids at certain points throughout the year, so like back to school, Valentine's Day, things like that, and I'll go over that in just a bit. But you can see that I did not put an amount right there because again, it is just for the kids. So that is what you are doing on this page. You're basically coming up with a budget for each one of these individuals that you list for up to 5 different events. So there's a line for a subtotal down here, and then you can tally up all of the gift budgets that you have right here. You could put the total for this page. So what I have is for each child for their birthday, typically I do $200, but for this next upcoming year, I did increase it a little bit for inflation. So we are going to do $240 per child for their birthday, and that's going to be for their birthday gifts. And we don't do like a big birthday party. We just buy some cupcakes for the kids to enjoy with their friends at school, and we do a cake at their grandparents' house, and the family just gathers together, have some cake and ice cream to celebrate our children on their birthdays. And then for hubby and I, we are going to try and do $100 a piece for our birthdays, just for birthday money. And then we're going to do $50 for hubby and I for Christmas. And then right here, this is going to be a sinking fund, but it's made up of multiple cash envelopes, and I had to break out my cash envelopes worksheet. So I do have this as a printable, and I'll make it available eventually, but for right now, I'll show you how I came up with this number. So starting off, I wanted to make sure that we were setting aside no more than $50 per child a month to celebrate their birthdays, Christmas, and the baskets. So we want to have a gift basket for the children for Valentine's Day, Easter, summer, back to school, New Year's Eve, and a holiday box. You can kind of think of the holiday box as a Christmas Eve box. So all of these holidays, we want to give them like a small basket full of things that they can enjoy. So for like the summertime, I did do a summer basket video on my channel, but it includes things that they would need, but we're just trying to spice it up and make it a little bit more fun for the kids. So for like summer, we got them swimsuits and beach towels and things like that, things that they would still need, especially swimsuits, because you know they're growing children and we got to replace their swimsuit every year anyway. So it's just spicing up the mundane, romanticizing the everyday life is basically what we're doing with these baskets. So back to the $50. So we're already setting aside money for birthdays and Christmas. So if you add that up, we'll just do one child, we'll do our son, is 240, and this is for the year. So, and 120 for Christmas. So that's 360 total for the year. So if you divide that by 12, we're already setting aside $30 each month for the year for birthdays and Christmas. And again, I don't want to set aside more than $50 per child per month. So 30 subtracted from 50 is going to give us $20. So we have $20 remaining for each child to budget. So if we take 20 times 12, that's what gave us that 240 number. And then 240 per child, so 240 times 3 is 720. So that's how I came up with my number for the year to put towards these baskets. So with that said, put these together. With that said, what I wanted to do was figure out how much money we would have at certain points in the year to put towards these baskets. So this worksheet, and you can use this worksheet for cash envelopes or sinking funds, doesn't really matter, but it does work better for cash envelopes because they're simpler. Sinking funds is, I'll show you, I do have another worksheet for sinking funds specifically, which will make sinking funds easier, but you can use them for both. It just depends on what you're trying to figure out. But as for these cash envelopes, I put the total up here. This is supposed to be the monthly amount that you want to set aside, but I just put the total amount for the year because that's how much I want to set aside in the cash envelope for the year. But I still know that we have $60 to play with for that month. So I put $60 right here for the cost. And then for term is basically how frequently you want to budget. So you can do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever you want to do, or annually. But since we are 1 month ahead, I'm going to do my terms as monthly. So if you wanted to do bi-weekly, I would just suggest that you use the annual calendar overview, where you're going to count the number of paychecks that leads up to that event. So say like we're starting at the beginning of January, right? And you want to set aside money for Valentine's Day. So if your first paycheck of the year is like mine, where it falls on Friday, January 12th, then you have 1, 2, 3 paychecks until Valentine's Day on the 14th of February. So the terms for you, if you were counting bi-weekly, would be 3. But since I'm counting in terms of months, then I'm just going to count 2 because I have 2 months until Valentine's Day. Now, if I wanted the money before February started, then I will only have 1 month to save up the money for Valentine's Day. So it just depends on how early you want the money to be available. So going back to this, for Valentine's Day, I would like the money to be available come February. I don't mind doing some last minute shopping for Valentine's Day because it should be super simple. And for Easter, I would like the money to be available in March. And then summer, I would like the money to be available in May. Back to school, I would like the money to be available in August. And then New Year's Eve, I would like the money to be available in November. And then the holiday box, I would like it to be available in October. So we're actually going to go back to this monthly calendar because I think it would be a little bit easier. So let's just do the terms right now for each of the events. So Valentine's Day, we have 2 months until the money is needed. For Easter, which is in March, assuming that I used all the money that we've saved up so far for Valentine's Day, I only have 1 month to save up for Easter. So I put a 1. And then for summer, that's going to be in May. So assuming that we have no more money left and we're starting from scratch, we have 2 months in order to save up for our summer basket. So I put a 2 right there. And then for back to school, which is in August, then we have, assuming all the money is gone, we have 1, 2, 3 months. And that's why I put 3 right there. And then we're going to skip to the holiday box, which is going to be the next event we need money for. So you're going from August to October. So assuming again that all of the money is gone, we would have 2 months to come up with some money for the holiday box. So I put a 2 right there. And then New Year's Eve, we would like the money to be available in November. So assuming all of the money is gone, I would only have November to set aside money, and that's why I put a 1 right there. So now that we have that figured out, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the cost times the number of terms. So you're just going to multiply across. So 60 times 2 is 120. 60 times 1 is 60, and so on and so forth. So if I add all of these up, then it should equal the 720. So this right here is going to be like my plan for this baskets. Let me get back to it. So whenever I look at this column right here, then I'll refer to this page because this is my plan to handle these baskets for the year. I'm going to set up a sinking fund based on this. And for Valentine's Day, I already know that I'm not going to spend $120 for the kids on Valentine's Day because I basically plan to do just like some pink chocolate milk with some heart-shaped pancakes. You know, just make the morning before they have to go to school or daycare a little bit special. And probably try to do something fun for dinner. But I know that's not going to cost $120. So more than likely, I am going to have some money left over for Easter. But I know I am going to need a good amount of money for summer because we, again, are going to be buying new water shoes and new bathing suits. So I might want to keep in mind that come Easter, I may not want to go crazy, even though I might have over $100 or so to spend for Easter, because I might want to save a little bit to roll it into the money for the summer that we need to save up. So that's basically how that works and how I'm going to use that. So now I'm going to set that one aside and we're going to move on to this page. Okay, so bringing back up my planner. So this is what a blank sheet looks like. You have space for the date, the description, and the amount. And what this page is intended for is for you to list, instead of like your gift budgets that's on this side where you're trying to figure out a budget per person for the event, you are just trying to figure out a budget for a certain event. So like if you need to attend a wedding and you're trying to get a wedding gift, you can write it down right here so that you don't forget about it if it's later in the year or some time away. Or if you want to put down a holiday such as Christmas, you can go ahead and list it right there. You can list down all of your holidays that you plan on celebrating and spending money on, as well as, just any other events and holidays that you want right here. So I would say make sure it's something that would be a bigger hit to your budget if you were not to save up for it. I wouldn't suggest writing any and everything. Have a little discernment in this sheet because you only get one sheet, but I would say like your most important events and things like that you may need to save up for, I would write down right here. Otherwise, if you only have a little like me, then you can go ahead and write them all right there because it's pretty much everything that we're going to be celebrating for 2024. So for this sheet, what I have over here is quarterly. I want to set aside $75 every quarter for seasonal decor and consumables. The consumables is going to be like candles or any type of plugins that I do, because I do like to switch like the hand soaps and things like that every season. So I'm thinking $75 should be enough to do that. So $75 times 4 is $300. And then for Halloween, I'm thinking $120 should be enough to buy the kids costumes and get a couple bags of candy. For our anniversary, I want to set aside $100 just so me and hubby can have a fancy dinner at home. And then Christmas, we are planning on getting a big like artificial tree, like maybe a 9-footer this upcoming year, hopefully, but we'll see. But I'm budgeting $900 for Christmas decor next year, so the bulk of that again is going to go to the tree and just basically replacing anything if we need to, but we shouldn't have to. But I know I like to spend money when it comes to Christmas decor, so I'm giving myself a little bit of room. So Father's Day, want to set aside $50. Mother's Day, want to set aside $50. Grandparents Day, I want to set aside $100 because we try to have the grandparents come together with the kids and just do the planned activity, and me and hubby just kind of like provide support, and it's more for like their quality time together. And we try to get the grandparents a small gift if we can. So that's why that budget is a little bit higher. Valentine's Day is $100 because, again, me and hubby like to stay in and typically order sushi and just do like a movie night for Valentine's Day. Let's see, clothes. I typically like to do $300 per child every 6 months so that we can just refresh their wardrobe, get any new clothes that they need to because stuff is too small and things like that. So that has been working well, and I would like to continue that, but I don't know because this clothing budget is a real stretch for our budget. But I want to put it down because I want to see what we can make happen. And then the same thing, clothes for me and hubby. I want to spend $1,000 over the course of the year if we can. I know I like clothes. I'm gonna buy clothes. I could spend this just for fall, but I'm trying to rein it back because I have started to do a seasonal capsule wardrobe, and please don't misread that as a like I only have 24 pieces of clothes. I just said that I love clothes. So no, I basically try to be more mindful of the things that I'm buying so that I can maximize the clothes that I already have by just adding 1 or 2 pieces per season. So yeah, just throwing that capsule on there just makes me more intentional about spending money on clothes per season, because I can get out of hand real quick when it comes to clothes. But moving on to Thanksgiving, $200 seems to be enough for us, and we are hosting this year, so I would imagine that we could probably lower this if we need to when next Thanksgiving comes. But for now, I'm just going to keep it at $200, which is what I am budgeting for this Thanksgiving. Let's see. And then New Year's Eve, I am going to try and set aside $100 just so we can order out and maybe get a puzzle or two, because with the kids, we just like to have a real chill, low-key night, and it's going to be more like a game night, and I like to get puzzles for the kids and me and hubby to work on while we wait for the East Coast ball to drop. We are on the West Coast, but ain't nobody staying up till midnight to have that ball drop, especially with little kids. So that we can enjoy the fun and the ball drop and everything like that, we celebrate the East Coast ball drop. So with all of that said, all of this totaled up, let me actually make sure, because like I said, this is my second time doing this video, so these numbers, I may not have updated them. Okay, yeah, so these numbers are right. So all of these added up for the year is $5,820. If I'm including the 2 clothesline, which comes out to $485 a month. And I already know that typically we have about $400 left over after all the bills and gas and groceries is taken care of. So $485 is not going to work out in our budget. So I did another calculation where I took out the 2 clothesline, and I'm going to talk to hubby about how we want to do clothes for this next year. But we need to do something. It's just I'm not going to be able to do a sinking fund along with the rest of these for next year. So once I take out the clothes, all of this comes up to $2,020 for the year, and that puts us at $169 a month. So $169 a month plus $175 a month, we can make that happen, especially since it's everything that we want to celebrate as a family minus clothes. So our budget may be able to accommodate that. So usually this is where most budget planners will stop. Even if you do get this sinking fund and you figure out like, okay, how many paychecks do I have in order to budget for a certain thing, like that typically has not been enough for me. I am a very visual person and I need to see it mapped out. So that is what inspired me to create this goal tracker, because it maps it out for the year. So if we look at, I'm gonna just do this page like this really quick. For my son, I set that for his birthday, and for Christmas, we're going to set aside $360, and we're going to do that for each one of the children. And then for me and hubby, we're going to set aside $150. So right here at the top is where I have birthdays and Christmas sinking funds set out by individual. And you can set this up however you want to. If you want to lump it all together and see what your sinking funds look like, but I rather break mine down a little. And don't worry, you do have 2 pages of it, so just in case things come up during the year, you have 2 pages. But this is how it's broken down, so that I know in order to meet this 360 goal for each child, we're going to set aside $30 per month per child for the year of 2024, and then we're going to do $12.50 for me and hubby a piece. So when I break it down like that, it seems like these thousands of dollars over here on these pages seems much more manageable. So going down as well, you can see the baskets where I came up with the cash envelopes basket right here, where I said we needed $720 for the baskets. Well, I have all of these in just one line for baskets. So again, this column right here that I went and broke down right here, this is now notes, but now I can see what the baskets look like and what it's going to take to meet that goal broken down right here. Essentially, we're going to need to set aside $60 a month in order to fund the baskets the way that we want to. And then I have the seasonal decor broken down, where seasonal decor was $300 for the year. Broken down, that's $25 a month. So looking at the clothes for the whole family, we're looking at over $300 for over $300 a month set aside for just clothes. And I know out of like our take-home pay, that's not going to happen at this time. So we're gonna maybe have to put that on the back burner, but not like fully. Probably just gonna have to lower it down and just, really take care of our clothes and really only replace stuff when we need to, but it just depends on what happens. So right here is where I have, minus the clothes, is where I have all of the events and holidays that I had on this page, minus the clothes. I have it broken down right here, and you can see as the year goes on, the money that we need is less and less and less because these events are passing by. So normally what would happen is that you would take this amount and then divide it by 12, and that would be your monthly amount, which is, if we're including clothes, would be $485. And again, who has $485 to set aside a month for just holidays and things like that? So that's why I'm saying having it broken down like this. I know in January, February, it's going to be a tighter month if we want to fund all of our events, because January and February, I see that to get us off on the right foot, we're going to need $218.94 for these events to fund them off the bat. So, but come March, it's going to drop down because Valentine's Day has already passed come March. So come March, we need $168.94. And then that's going to be the same thing for April. Well, April and May, because come June, Mother's Day is going to have passed, so we're going to drop down $10 and we're going to need $158.94. So on and so forth until, as you can see, it drops down to $158, $150, $138, $127, and then it really drops off because I'm no longer saving $90 for the Christmas decor, because come November, we're no longer saving for the Christmas decor. And that's the biggest amount for these events, because if I subtracted $90 from these monthly totals of like $218 down to $127, then it's not that much. So if ever a month is tough, I can look and see like, okay, January for this entire column, I have it written down. Dang. Let me add it up real quick. I'm gonna add up this whole month of January. Okay, so for the whole month of January total, we would need $695.94 to be set aside to accomplish all of these things. And I already know that come January, things are going to be, I won't say tight because we're not doing a whole bunch for Christmas, but things are not going to be so loose that we have $700 to set aside for these sinking funds. So I'm already going to tell you that we're going to take clothes out. Clothes is not going to happen in the month of January. So now that drops it down to $378.94, which for us may be reasonable come January, because again, I told you that typically we have about $400 remaining after all the bills are paid, food and groceries, gas and groceries are taken care of. So we might set aside this whole balance. But if things get tough, I could just take away things in this column as I see fit. And maybe I'll just roll over the $90 to the next month, which isn't going to happen. If we ever skip this Christmas decor a month, we're just skipping it. There is no rolling it over to the next month, because yeah, that's just not going to happen. So if we needed to, I would just do a process of elimination, like start crossing off the things that have the lowest priority versus the highest priority. So like these up here to fund our kids' Christmas and birthdays, these would take top priority for us in our budget. And then down here, it would just depend on what event is coming up that we would prioritize. Maybe we can't do all of these in one month, but maybe we'll just fund the thing that's coming up next. So like if Mother's Day is the next holiday that's coming up, maybe we'll just finish funding the Mother's Day sinking fund. So I hope that made sense, and I hope that seeing my sinking funds and cash envelopes mapped out like this will help you understand and inspire you to map out your sinking funds and cash envelopes in a more visual way. But again, feel free to use this however you want. You don't have to list everything that's on these 2 pages on here. You can do something completely different that you want to. You can track your weight on these pages. You could do whatever it is you want to. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh wait, just kidding. I forgot to show you guys this sinking funds worksheet. So this is for all the newbies that need help on figuring out their sinking funds, or if you just want to have a place that you already did all the calculations and things like that. So let's pick Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and Christmas. So Mother's Day, we'll do a quick little faux sinking fund of trying to figure out what we need to do in order to have money for these different events. Okay, so for Christmas, let's do something a little bit lower. Let's do $360 so we can have some nice clean numbers. Valentine's Day, I'm going to switch to a goal amount of $120 so we can have some clean numbers. And then Mother's Day, we're going to do, let's do $240. Definitely did multiples of 12 on here, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to flip to the front calendar overview, and let's say you want to figure out your sinking funds on a bi-weekly basis. So this term right here is going to be bi-weekly. So you need to count the number of paychecks that you have in order to figure out how much time you have until this event comes up that you need the money for. So say everything is beginning in January. And then, oh, sorry, that is not what that column says. The beginning balance for all of these is going to be 0, because let's just say that we're starting from fresh and we don't have any money set aside for these sinking funds. So for Valentine's Day, and basically all of these, your ending balance is going to be 120. Well, actually, no, let's not start from 0. Let's mix it up a little bit. For Valentine's Day, let's say your honey gives you $80. So your beginning balance is $80 for Valentine's Day. No. Let's not do that. Let's not do Valentine's Day. Let's actually do Mother's Day. So Valentine's Day is going to go back to 0. Mother's Day. So say like you and your siblings or whoever want to pitch in for a gift for a mother in your life. So say you are the one that's collecting all of the money and everybody has given you their share, but 1 or 2 people dropped out. Now you have to come up with that money in order to get this gift. So $240. Let's say that you have received $80 so far. So $80, let's just because y'all already know my mental math. I think it's 120, but we gonna do it on the calculator. Look at that, 160. Okay, so 160 is what you need to have for the ending balance. Okay, and then Valentine's Day, you don't have anything set aside, so you're going to need 120 at the end, and then 360 for Christmas because you haven't set anything aside. You're just starting fresh. Okay, so the start date, you're going to start January 1 for all of these, and then you're going to have various end dates. So Valentine's Day, let's say you want to have the money the weekend before, so let's say 2/10 on February 10th. And then Mother's Day, you want to have the money so you can have enough time to order your gift. And I have no clue when Mother's Day is, but I think it's on the 12th, May 12th. So let's just say you want to have the money by the Saturday before to give you enough time to shop. So we're going to do May 4th. Oops. And then for Christmas, you want to have the money, let's say the end of November, because you don't want to have to save up all the way until Christmas because you need time to start shopping. So we're going to put the last day is November 30th. Okay, so from January 1st to February 10th, you have 1, 2, 3 paydays. And remember, we are doing our term as bi-weekly, so you get paid every 2 weeks, so you have 3 paychecks. That is how I came up with, I don't know why I put that up there when I have a whole column dedicated to what the term is. So I'm going to put bi-weekly. Okay, so the number of terms, back to this, is going to be 3, and then we're going to count the number of terms come Mother's Day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 because we need to stop by May 4th. So you have 9 terms or 9 paychecks for Mother's Day, and then for Christmas we're going to stop on this. Our last paycheck is going to be November 29th. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. 24 pay periods. 24 pay periods until November 30th, in which we need the money for Christmas. You're going to go ahead and divide the ending balance by the number of terms that you came up with, because again, the ending balance is what you need to have so that you have the money for these different events. So 120 divided by 3, you need $40 per paycheck. And then 160 divided by 9, you're going to need $17, and let's round up to 78 cents per paycheck. And then for Christmas, 360 divided by 24, you're going to need $15 per paycheck in order to fund Christmas. So add it up, you would do 15 plus 17, 78 plus 40, you would need $72.78 in order to have the money for these 3 events, and that's per paycheck. So that is how you would come up with your sinking funds if you needed to figure that out. Super simple and easy. And again, I will have this printable up in my shop eventually, but if you don't want to wait or buy it, you really don't have to. You can just break out a sheet of paper and just do exactly what I just did. But I wanted to make sure that I showed this to you guys just in case anyone is new out there and needed a little help on trying to figure out how much money to save for a certain event or sinking fund. Okay, so I hope this helped, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.